We're ready. We're recording.
Okay, it's 7:02 on November 7th. We'll call to order the Personnel and Finance Committee meeting for the City of Brainerd. Start with introductions.
Alderman at Large Kevin Stunek.
Finance Director Connie Hillman. City Administrator Jennifer Bergman.
Deputy Sting Law, Ward 3.
Teresa Burke, Brandon Dispatch.
City Engineer Jesse Dean.
Chris Schubert, HR Director.
John Davis, Police Department.
Gabe Johnson, Chair of the committee. We have 11 items tonight, the first of which is to consider going out for bids for Memorial Park South lights.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. So at the October 25th Park Board meeting, the Park Board took action to request staff complete a sealed bid solicitation for replacement of the softball field lights at Memorial Park, fields 1 and 2. During that discussion, they wanted some more information from vendors, including warranty, what the layouts would be, as well as having some bids in hand so that they could execute a contract basically as soon as possible, knowing that there was likely going to be some long lead times on things like the poles, which have seen some long lead times throughout this last year. So they're concerned about being able to have a contract in place early enough that we could get the lights kind of installed maybe before the season if possible, if not early as possible anyway. The reason this is being brought before the committee here is the replacement of the lights is included in the proposed capital budget. It is not an adopted capital item. So I did want the committee and council to kind of approve going out for sealed bid solicitation on it.
So
Technically, it's an unbudgeted expense.
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Okay, I'm going to be voting no. I don't support the idea. It's not in the budget. It's never been in the budget. We haven't even identified if it's going to be in the budget. So, and we haven't even been given any other alternatives, right? It's like, hey, a light burnt out. I need $500,000. No other alternative, sorry. So I'm not going to support this. But with that, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No.
Aye. That motion does not carry.
Failed.
That motion failed. Do we have a different take in a motion?
Do you want a motion that we not go out for sealed bids on that, or that we consider it as part of our?
Even if we went out for bids and got bids, we could still say no to the project, correct?
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
And then we could actually award
So
them.
I would
And then we
like
could
to say-
stop them in the mid-project too. We
But-
could do any numbers.
So then I would like to say, let's allow them to go out for bids. We can always table it and see where we're at as far as the budget and stuff as we go forward.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
So technically, the park board is able to enter a contract without that bid going to council. I don't anticipate that they would unless that project was included in the final adopted budget, in the capital budget. Most likely the timing wouldn't even allow that. We would have to give vendors several weeks to do so. I do ask if you're not going to allow us to go for sealed bid right now, if I can just clarify the reasoning behind that is that it is not a budgeted expense, and then if it does end up included in the final capital budget, would it be assumed that there would be authorization to go out for the sealed bid at that time?
So as far as I know, they're still just proposing spending like $2.5 million on capital items next year. I think we as a council, we didn't have any votes on this for the workshop, but I think a consensus of us wanted them to take a hard look and bring that number down significantly. Because if we spend $2.5 million on capital items in the parks in 2023, there's gonna be a different city council in 15 years having $2.5 million of stuff falling apart and saying, who are these clowns that thought we could spend that much money every year fixing things? So I don't think we should go up for bids. I think we should wait. If we need to replace a light bulb, we need to replace a light bulb. But spending $500,000, I think should be a bigger process than just get this done and then slide the other stuff in the back door too. Should all be done at once.
Well, and I think we need to weigh it against the other things that are also being looked at from the park board and our other, I mean, I know from our workshop as well that these are really old lights, but at some point, like, there's that 3.9.
Well, we've got a motion and it was defeated, so.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, we
That's
could
fine.
do another
Yeah,
one.
we'll
but-
just, no action was taken. Or the motion failed and we didn't feel the need to do another one.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next item on the agenda, which is ratify the hiring of park maintenance position.
Good evening. On September 6th, the City Council authorized staff to begin the hiring process to backfill our park maintenance position. We received 26 applications and 10 individuals were interviewed for the position. We have offered the job to Samuel Jensen, and he has successfully completed his pre-employment hiring process. Sam will start on Monday, November 14th, and he'll be placed on step 1 of the park maintenance wage grid in accordance with the hiring guidance that the council previously adopted. Staff's recommended action is a motion to ratify the hiring of Sam Jensen effective November 14th, further that he be placed on step 1 of the park maintenance wage grade.
Okay, one question, Chris, for your motion. Do you have any idea why in such a challenging job market where nobody can find the employees they need? We got 26 applications for one position. Do you have any recent explanation to that?
Well, I would like to think that we are considered a good employer. It is a good wage for an entry-level position. There isn't a lot of requirements for this position. On average, most public sector people are lucky to get 4 applicants for each position. This is unheard of. So
Well, no, it's every time we post a park job, it's
granted,
it's
we
not
used to
unheard
get
of.
150.
It's routinely exactly what happens every time we post the job is we're getting significantly more applicants than there are. Are we overpaying?
Well, we have a wonderful thing called a classification and compensation study that we're going to be working on. And that will tell us how we're doing for our.
Yeah, that found they were overpaid last time we did it 4 years ago. I imagine it might find the same since we're having such an easy job filling these positions. Now we'll take a motion.
I move to ratify the hiring of Samuel Jensen effective November 14th, and that he be placed on step 1 of park maintenance. And you just moved it on me, Tony.
I did, I'm
Park
sorry.
maintenance wage grid, $20.48 per hour.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up, ratify the administrative specialist for public works, Chris.
So we have accepted the retirement of Administrative Specialist Kim Finch, and we have given our new Public Works Director and City Engineer an opportunity to observe the department. He recommended that we backfill that position with a little bit of different duties. When we advertised for the position, we got 40 applications, and we interviewed 9 people for that position. Carrie LaRose was offered the position, and she's completed her pre-employment hiring process, and she actually started last Monday on October 31st. Based on the hiring guidance that the City Council had given, we placed her on step 3, based on her previous experience in education. We are asking that you ratify her hiring. Just to let you know, we did ask her to start for a couple weeks to work with Kim, and then also to work with some of our other staff for training. We're in the process of a computer software conversion for the Parks Department, so she can be involved with that. But she's also going to be doing some additional work for some of the other public works divisions, such as transit, engineering, and streets. So we wanted her to work with them and still have someone to cover the job, so.
I would so move to ratify the hiring of Carrie LaRousse.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is to ratify the hiring of CSO Jason Baller. Sounds like a baller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The recent resignations of community service officers Brandon Lezer and Nicholas Karsny has left our department with 2 community service officers. We interviewed potential candidates, and Jason Bowler was hired on November 3rd. Recommended action is to ratify the hiring of CSO Jason Bowler, the starting wage of $16 an hour, effective November 3rd.
Let's move.
Second.
A motion and a second to ratify the hiring. Any discussion?
So we've got 1 opening left there?
Yeah, so currently we have 3 community service officers. 1 opening left, however, we are anticipating, unfortunately, 1 of our 3 right now probably resigning sometime soon, so it's gonna be a continued process for a little while. And once again, we're experiencing some challenges finding applicants as well, so.
Maybe we should pay them $23 an hour with a pension for the rest of their life.
Can't we backfill with the 40 the other ones at 5?
I don't think they want
We got a deal for
$16
you.
hours, yeah. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Accept the resignation of line worker Jonathan Engel.
So line worker Jonathan Ingelholm submitted his resignation letter on October 24th. His last working day was last Friday, November 4th. At this time, BPU staff wanted to review some opportunities to look at for that organization and that department, so they are not ready to make a recommendation regarding backfilling that position. So at this time, we're just asking for you to accept the resignation of Jonathan Ingelholm.
I make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept with regret the resignation of Jonathan Engel. Any discussion? We'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Approve the revised assistant planner job description.
So, James Krambeck was promoted to our community development director position back in June. We've conducted 2 hiring processes for that position without any luck of hiring anyone to serve in that position. So we've looked at options, and one of the options that staff is recommending is to revise the job description for our assistant planner to reduce the minimum qualifications for this, hoping to increase our applicant pool. So basically what we're doing is, before it said a bachelor's degree plus experience, we're saying bachelor's degree or experience right now. So if you would consider approving the revised assistant planner job description as presented.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. I'm just looking at it. So it's just the red line
That's
changing the experience. That's the one thing we're changing to repost it again. Have you considered moving like a tree inspector back over to the Parks Department or other job duties that might scare people away? Because if I like looked at somebody who's looking for like an accountant and they said, oh, by the way, you're also the tree inspector, I'd be pretty worried about what that entails.
You know, I've had James look at this, he didn't say anything about it. We added the tree inspector to his position when he was the assistant planner, because it made a lot of sense.
Because he understands
Of his
trees.
background. With that said, Katie gets really, really busy in the summer. She was our tree inspector, so we need someone to be able to go out and tag those trees and things like that. James could maybe oversee this person, teach that person, I'm not sure. I don't know if you want to change that part or just wait to see what we get. It is not hard.
I was just asking if you'd considered it to move that back to Katie or even to the community development director, since James knows how to do it. But this is a good start, and I think getting rid of the bachelor's degree should open up the field, and we should get some good applications, I hope. I mean, they still get the pension, right?
By state law.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next item is MOA with unions for the 2023 health insurance plans.
On September 19th, the City Council approved our 2023 health insurance plans, and we added a new plan that we hadn't had before. With that, we needed to negotiate MOAs with the unions so that we could set the contribution amounts for that plan and to officially be able to offer it. So we reached out to the 4 unions that have our Sourcewell Health Partners plans, and all 4 of them have agreed to it. So basically the MOAs are very similar in nature. Some of them have a 1-year contract remaining, some had 2 years. That's really the only difference. But we're asking you to approve the MOAs as presented, and all of them, like I said, have been reviewed by the unions and agreed to them.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the MOAs. Is there any discussion? Do I need to read this whole motion upstairs, or can we just approve the MOAs as attached?
I think you could just approve it myself.
I think you can too.
Okay.
MOAs, it's a.
Good. Any other discussion? We'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Okay, next up is the transferring funds from the sinking fund. Scott?
Yes, so we had 2 debt issues that were paid off in February of 2022. Both funds have a positive cash balance combined of $83,900.06. Historically, when debt issues have been paid off and they have a positive cash balance, we transfer the funds to Fund 400, which is for our facilities and equipment. This time staff is, and then any delinquent taxes or assessments also go to Fund 400. We did have it budgeted that $117,000 was going to go into Fund 400. With the expenditure of the lawsuit being recorded in 2022, staff is recommending that we transfer the $83,900 to the general fund rather than Fund 400, and any future delinquent tax revenue or special assessments that are collected would go to Fund 400. I was concerned about the budget, but I think that in the capital plan, but I think we were okay with not putting the $83,000 in there and using it for the to offset some of the fund balance issues that we'll have with the lawsuit. So the attached resolution.
It was an agreement, it was a settlement.
Settlement.
Thank you. It was not an agreement.
No, the settlement. So the attached resolution is closing bond funds 301 and 313, transferring the cash balances to Fund 101 and any future or delinquent tax revenues or special assessment collections going to Fund 400.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and as I understand it, this is a one-time action.
Yes.
Next year,
We can do whatever.
it'll automatically go into 400, or you'll bring it to us.
We always have to bring the resolution for council to adopt, so I would suggest that
Okay.
yes.
Yep, perfect. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up, deferred assessments, Connie.
Right, we had 6 applications for deferment for pay year 2023, which was for 4 different residents. Staff used the resolution that was attached on the October 17th council meeting to determine the eligibility. And we also used the 2023 property evaluations that were sent out in March to determine their estimated market value. Staff determined that 3 out of the 4, or 3 residents that account for 4 applications meet all the criteria of the resolution. There was 1 resident with the 2 applications that did not meet the estimated market value set in 4C. However, this is Mr. Green, and the council has determined that there was a financial hardship due to the size of the assessment, and the council did grant Mr. Green deferment for pay years 2020 and 2021. Therefore, staff is recommending to approve the applications for deferment of assessments payable in 2023 for the PIDs that are listed. And I'm missing a PID.
I so move.
Do we want to wait for the 4th PID?
It should
Well-
be Mr. Green.
Will you, get it to me so I can include it in the motion
Yes.
upstairs? Right here, we can just conceptually say all 4
All
PIDs.
4. Then I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
But that should say for pay year 2023 as well.
Okay, so yeah, get me the 4 PIDs and
Yep.
I got
I'll
it.
try to
If you
remember
want
to
to keep
take
They're
going.
listed right here.
I got them.
Yes, okay, thank you, Jennifer.
I'll poke you.
All right, so,
I'll just let it die for lack of a second.
the next item, are we ready?
Okay, yeah, next Connie,
Adopt the
ARPA
budget,
funds.
ARPA funds.
ARPA funds.
So staff detailed out some funding based on our workshop. When we had the ARPA workshop, this was kind of what was developed there. So staff went through and looked at parks, we looked at 2023 capital, and we looked at the police department HVAC. Those were the main ones that the majority of the council nominated for funding with ARPA dollars. So staff went through and kind of made some recommendations. We had funding for parks at $575,000. This was the average when you eliminated the high and the low. That's how we came up with $575,000. Staff would recommend that council provide specific direction to the park board on the expectation of the ARPA expenditures, ranking the projects in case bids come in higher so that we at least get the projects completed. 2023 capital, staff is recommending $300,000. Using the same, staff struggled with making a recommendation for the 2023 capital amount. To be consistent with how the parks was determined, staff would recommend about $250,000. However, it would be more ideal if the ARPA funding would fund one full project in the 2023 capital. Staff would recommend the motor grader that's estimated at $385,000. However, there's more funding than was recommended by the council members, and so we just picked $300,000 because 3 out of the 5 had $300,000 or more for the 2023 capital. Then the police department's HVAC, use $140,000 out of ARPA funds to do option number 2, and the rest of it would come out of the budget that we had in 2024 of $250,000. And this leaves $373,098 basically of ARPA funds to be determined. So we included in here kind of the budget, and we can do whatever council would like to decide. I can pull it up during the council meeting. I can't pull it up down here, but whatever council decides they would like to do. And then staff ranked the capital for the parks as well, just based on discussion from the meeting.
You ranked Lum Park number 1, I talked crap about that.
You know, that was the way the park board had them on there, and we just kind of went down the road. So whatever council desires.
So I think, yeah, your recommendation, $300,000 out of the capital, $140 for the police HVAC, but doing option 2, which is the redundant HVAC systems with other money coming elsewhere. So then as long as we're all okay with that, I think we'd have those 2 in the motion. And then we have these 2 options. We want to put 500 in the parks or 575 in the parks.
And then what order you would like to tell the parks that you would like to see ARPA funds spent on the parks?
So in my opinion, the motion I'd like to be able to bring upstairs is J.C.'s Park number 1, Lum Park Beach 2, Kiwanis Park 3, Lum Park Campground 4. But really, I just think J.C.'s Park at number 1 is one I'm passionate about because those fields aren't very good for the kids playing soccer out there.
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry. You wanted J.C.'s Park, Lum Park Beach, Kiwanis, and then the campground?
Yeah, that's my personal order, but really the only one I'm passionate about is J.C.'s number 1, so we can get those soccer fields fixed so they're not all ruddy and bumpy and, get the kids on safe sod.
I can live with that.
I have no strong opinion about the
Yeah.
order, so.
Are you looking at 575,000 or 500,000?
I think 575, yeah.
I'd
Okay.
leave it at 575 too.
Okay. So then it ends up being the same we have, but we have it just in different order.
Correct.
Right,
So I
Yep,
will,
you've got the 575 right.
okay,
We just put J.C.'s
yep.
up and
So what I did on mine is I did 4, 1, 2, and 3 for those projects. 4 was the Lum Park Campground, 1 is J.C.'s, 2 is Lum Beach, Kiwanis, and then the campground. Is that what you had said?
I think so, but you went in a real
Well,
scrambling order.
that's because I was listing them how I had it here.
Okay.
I will do something
I mean,
before
for
council
the
to
sake
pull it up.
of being it's on TV and for the sake of who's gonna sit in the audience, I think we need to go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
If we go
Yes.
3, 2,
And I'll include it in the
bingo.
motion, we'll say J.C.'s Park, priority number 1, Lum Park Beach, priority number 2, Kiwanis Park 3, Lum Park Campground, priority number 4,
Yep,
and then 300,000 in 2023 capital, and $140,000 to the police department HVAC,
doing option number 2,
doing option number 2,
thank you.
and leaving $373,997.57 to be determined at a later time, and that's the motion we're looking for here.
Okay,
Okay,
I will make that motion.
Okay,
second.
thank you.
we have a motion and a second, any discussion? All right, that went well, thank you everybody, we'll vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, that motion carries.
Last item.
Budget workshop.
Yeah, so council usually holds a workshop in late November to discuss the updates to the working funds budget and to get an update on the overall levy. At the workshop, council generally gives guidance to staff on what the council would like staff to present for the 2023 levy at the public hearing, which is scheduled for December 12th at 7:30 in the council chambers. So staff would recommend to hold a budget workshop on Monday, November 28th at 6 p.m. in the council chambers.
So moved.
On what day?
It's a Monday, November
28th.
28th.
I looked at this last week.
It's the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Well, I'll second your motion.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second to meet the Monday after Thanksgiving, it's an in-service day, no school.
Oh.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, that motion carries. And will you set up, figure out what works for Kelly, so we can meet
Okay,
with Kelly on Wednesday before that or something to look at it?
sounds good.
And with that, we're adjourned with 3 minutes to spare.
Woo-hoo.